Hi, I'm Courtney Kaplan. I am the author behind TBD, To Be Determined, the newsletter, and I'm the founder of Iconic Leadership Coaching. And thank you for subscribing to the newsletter. I thought I'd try something different and record a little video about a coaching conversation that I did. This coaching conversation was about managing change. And it was perfectly timed because I woke up this morning to the news that Meta laid off 8,000 people. And as I was scrolling people announcing their unfortunate layoffs, there are even more folks chiming in with their own layoffs from other companies. So we're in a really difficult time right now for a lot of folks that have worked in technology and design, especially with layoffs and a lot of unexpected change. So my conversation, the coaching conversation today, was about change. How do we address and step into navigating these changes? In personal development and later as a coach, there's a lot I understood about how we navigate change. And I wanted to share some of that with you today as someone who has navigated change in one way and now has chosen a different way to figure my way out through unexpected outcomes. So something happens when we have a change and we might compartmentalize or push it away or have a really big reaction and then push it away or move on. If we can't feel an emotion, take the signal from our body and then act on that emotion or act on those signals, if we suppress them, if we compartmentalize them, if we have an explosive outburst and then move on, those emotions don't just disappear. They continue to manifest, trying to get our attention. They manifest as anxiety, relationship issues at work and at home, addiction issues, right? Anything to numb and keep ourselves separated from our strong emotions that come up when change is afoot. And that suppression does help us in the short run, but it hurts us in the long run. So those reactions to change are often things that are started early on in our lives, right? There's something we've practiced from an early age. And so we tend to primarily leave our body in a moment of change or surprise, and we leave the present moment that we're in. And those are actually the only two things that are real, that we have a body and then we have the present moment. So if there's a change or a surprise or a change in plans or something happens and we're instantly off in our heads, anxious, planning, worrying, moving on to the next thing, out of our bodies, into our minds, we actually lose traction with the only place that we have power and agency. So we lose that moment to have power and leverage to be able to do something. So what do we do instead? Our world has a lot of changes happening in it, some of them minor, some of them major, some of them overwhelming seeming. So what can we do other than suppress, push aside, have a big reaction, and then kind of hopefully move on from the damage of that reaction? Well, we can do a couple things. One of the things that I was taught to do, which helps a lot, is to depersonalize. So if you've gotten laid off or something like, especially if you've gotten laid off, it's not about you and your personal performance at this moment. It's about a context, an environment, a larger business decision or a larger business strategy that's not about you personally. Does it affect you personally? Yes, it does. But it's not about you. So you don't have to blame yourself or wish you did something different or, isolate yourself or feel ashamed that you got laid off. This is part of a larger movement and a moment at this time. So how can we depersonalize? We can take the event seriously. We know it will have impacts, but we don't have to take it personally. What that does is it gives us a little bit more space. So if we're not feeling personally attacked or personally picked on or personally, insulted, we have a little more space to feel what's actually going on for us. So if it's not about you personally and you don't have to react and respond, can you feel the actual emotion that's happening in the moment? Disappointment, fear, rage, sadness. What emotion are you feeling? And for a lot of us, we aren't very used to feeling our emotions, right? I'll ask clients, how did you feel about that? And they will very frequently say, I think I felt okay. Or I think I felt, kind of mad and then it was fine. We don't think our feelings, we feel our feelings. So in that moment, can we feel the feeling and identify that feeling where it is in your body? Where do you feel? If you are angry, where do you feel anger in your body? Is it a knot in your throat? Is it a temperature of hotness in your head? Is it a stomach that's churning? Where do you feel anger? And just being able to be there with that emotion with warm compassion and curiosity, with almost a friendliness, almost like you would approach like a scared dog, right? Like if you find a stray dog and you can see that they're really freaking out and they're really scared, you're going to approach that animal with compassion, patience, stillness. Um, there's a saying that I like to refer to of the child plays with the toy, the mother observes the child. And what that means is the child, maybe you, are looking at the event, the toy. I got laid off. I didn't get the offer. I screwed up that interview. And you've got a relationship. You're mad, sad, frustrated, whatever. But can you also be the mother who's observing the child and seeing, wow, I can understand that I would be frustrated about that. It makes a lot of sense that I feel angry. This is a really difficult time for a lot of people. Wow, I can see how it's easy to blame myself for that interview, but the truth is, it didn't seem like a great match and from the beginning, and that's okay. So as you kind of have to be in two places at once, one, the experiencer, and two, the observer of the experiencer. And the observer of the experiencer is a wiser self that's going to be able to bring compassion, patience, insight, wisdom, more of your true power and ability to respond to the change, respond to the situation. So I also just want to make a quick note here. I'm not saying pave over your feelings or kind of spiritually bypass and be an observer of your feelings. You're going to have to feel the feelings too. There might be tears. There might be, you know, punching a pillow, doing whatever you need to do to express that emotion. But then to be able to make sense of that emotion and bring some compassion and some self-awareness to that emotion can be incredibly useful. So as you're being the mother, observing the child who's having the emotion as they see the action or the toy or the thing in front of them, taking that space, listening to the body, feeling where that emotion is landing in the body, being curious, giving that feeling in your body some space, a moment, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 10 minutes. Give it that moment. We don't want to rush on. And a lot of times it can feel very scary to feel the feeling because it feels like it won't move on. It feels like we're going to fall into an abyss of sadness. It feels like we're going to fall into a hole of exhaustion that we'll never climb out of. It feels like the anger could consume us, right? I understand that. And that's why we've been avoiding that feeling. But if you can practice to feel the sensation in your body just for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a couple minutes, you'll notice it seems so present and so real and so overwhelming. And then it will shift, especially if you bring this other consciousness and this other attention to that moment. Yeah, it makes sense you would feel angry. Yes, your heart is feeling really tight. Yes, it's almost a burning sensation. I can see that. Bringing that awareness around. And as you feel those emotions shift, maybe after tears or crying or movement or whatever, then you have some space to be able to ask yourself with care and attention, what do I need now? And who could help me? So, what do I need now and who can help me? So many of us in the professional realm are used to not having needs, not being any trouble at all, always contributing to the team and not taking from the team. These are conditioned ways of being that we show up at work that have been rewarded. And in this moment, it's a time to include yourself in the conversation. Put yourself back in the story. Okay, this change just happened. How do I feel? What information am I getting from my body about that feeling? How can I give myself some compassion, some self-compassion and care? And what do I need now? And who can help me? What do I need now in this moment? And who could help me? The answer might be, I need a break. I need a snack. I need some support. I need a therapist. I need a moment to myself. I need some time off. I need some help with my LinkedIn. I don't know how to do that. We can see what that simple need is and then reconnecting to your community and the people around you who can help me. Again, it might be very vulnerable to think of asking someone else for help, but right now during this time, during these, quickly changing days, building that community, leaning on that community, giving back to that community, sure, but also asking and requesting what you need from your community. Who could help me? And sometimes your next steps or a revelation or a new idea comes from one conversation, one set of feedback from somebody, one tip from somebody. Hey, check this out. Look what I saw. Let me send you the link. Something like that can really change. So instead of running away from the feeling, isolating yourself after a big change, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I'm so ashamed. Compartmentalizing, I don't care, whatever, shove it in a drawer, I'll deal with it later. Doing kind of that greatest hits tear down job of yourself. Oh, you're an idiot. Of course, of course, I expected this of you. You've never done anything right. None of those things. We want you to be able to get to a place where you can be more connected to yourself and your emotions, have more clarity about what has happened and what you're able to do with what has happened, develop some ideas for choices and response, and find the support that you need. And all of that comes from leveraging the present moment, whatever moment you're in, and leveraging the wisdom of your body, which luckily you always have right with you. So as I close this chat with you, I want to let you know this process I've described, it's not linear always. It's not A to B to C. It's not a one and done generally. This type of building awareness, building self-compassion, sitting with what is, it's a process. It's circular. It's a practice that you come back to again and again. And I don't say that to discourage you. I say that to encourage you that this is something you can always come back to, that you can always return to, that you can always reconnect with. So a big change happens. We depersonalize to give ourselves some space to feel the emotion in the body. Where in the body am I feeling? And what am I feeling specifically in the body? Then being able to sit with that feeling with the warm compassion, the wiser self, the part of you that has a curiosity and a friendliness, just being there like you're supporting a lost animal or a scared child, sitting and listening. Noticing if there are shifts, like the weather changes and those emotions can shift and change. And then asking yourself, what do I need now? And who could help me? So bring back the dignity of listening to yourself, please. We are in difficult times with a lot of change, and building this skill will help you to be more resilient, more connected, more empowered, and be able to see new opportunities and new options for yourself. Allow yourself to see new choices. If you're interested in this kind of thing, I have a podcast called Evolution or Revolution, where I talk to people who have worked in tech, who have moved on to do other things in their lives. I've got some amazing guests who have made really cool choices, and they tell you how they did it step by step, the great times and the frightening times and all the bits in between. And I'm also starting a coaching circle. We meet once monthly, and we have conversations like this and more lighthearted conversations, sharing short exercises, easy ways that you can manage your own evolution and revolution with the support of yourself, a group of peers, and me as your coach. And I'll include the link to that in the notes under the video and in the newsletter. So check it out if it's something you might be interested in. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all of you and your subscriptions, reading the newsletter, and I'm curious to hear what you think of this video. Thanks.